Shalom, 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 shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Peace and salutation to the whole elect scattered abroad that's out here doing this work in truth and sincerity. I'm Brother Debak coming at you with another lesson. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying unto the hopeful elect. Today, I wanted to do a lesson on sounding the alarm. You know, if you are a man of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man, you should be sounding the alarm, man. You know, because we can tell that we're in these end days, man. You know, scriptures say, measure thy time gently in itself, man. You know, so you know what's going on. You know, so what we gotta sound that alarm. This is Joel chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. In Colombia. You know, the earthquakes in diverse places, man. You know, soon it's gonna be a lot of famine and shit going on. You see the inflation, how it is now. You know, so brothers doing videos on these topics and the things that's happening around the world, man. So you can tell that we in the end times, man, and the Lord is coming back soon, man. You know, and that's a blessing for the people and the men that believe. You know, I'm gonna go to the book of Numbers chapter 10 and verse 9. It says, and if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Lord your power, and ye shall be saved from your enemies, man. You know, and we are in captivity, man. You know, Esau rules this place, man. You know, but by sounding the alarm, man, letting our people know, you know, the Lord gonna remember that, man. You know, and that's also that's blood off your hands, man. You know, letting the people know it, and if they still wanna, do something stupid, man, that's on them. You know. But again, it says, these shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, man. You know, constantly doing videos, uploading on social media, man. You know, constantly letting Jake know. But how Jake is nowadays, man, if it don't catch their attention, they just scroll over it, man. You know, Jake has a short attention span. You know, if it's not dealing with women or money, you know, the riches of this world, they're not interested in it, man. You know, Jake only want to get interested in the Lord if someone close to them passes away, man. You know, they want to I got to get right with the Lord. Something bad has to happen for them to get right with the Lord. You know, what about when good things happen, man? Do you want to still get right with the Lord then? Nah, man. You know, Jake only call when they down and out, man. I'm gonna go to the book of Isaiah chapter 58. This is Isaiah chapter 58 in verse 1. It says, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, man. You know, and that's what we doing, man. You know, when brothers go to camp, you know, when we do videos, when we post on social media, you know, that's us crying out loud, man. You know, it says, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins, man. You know, constantly, telling people not to eat pork. You know, the dietary laws, man. The simple things. And then you got Jake want to commit adultery, man. Jake always want to try to, take somebody's girlfriend or, whatever the case may be, man. That's just how Jake is, And we telling him, man, that shit ain't right, man. You know how these niggas are these days behind these women, man. They tender. They want to kill your ass behind that woman, man. Go to the book of Ezekiel. Actually, I want to grab that Isaiah in the NLT too. I'm gonna grab that Isaiah in the NLT. NLT got some heat too. This is Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 1 in the NLT. It says, "Shout with the voice of a trumpet blast. Shout aloud. Don't be timid. Tell my people of Israel their sins." Don't be timid. Don't be hesitant, man. Because this is what we're supposed to be doing. This is our job, I'm going to go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 33. This is Ezekiel chapter 33 and verse 3. It says, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people. And then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head, man. And like I said, that's what Jake, man. It'll have to be in Jake damn face, man, before they even believe anything, man. And that's gonna lead to their own demise, man. That's blood off our hands, man. We let you know, you ignore it, and just like you tell your child the stove hot, but they want to find out for themselves, But they gonna find out it's gonna be a fucking nuke, man. It's gonna be too late, I'm gonna go to the book of Acts. Acts chapter 20. I'll grab it in the NLT. Shit, man, my service bad slocky. There you go. Acts chapter 20 in the NLT. Verse. This is Acts chapter 20 and verse 26 in the NLT. It says, "I declare today that I have been faithful. If anyone suffers eternal death, it's not my fault, man." We don't want that blood on our hands, man. We're not out here, charging you to hear the word of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, man. It's not ours to benefit off that, man. You got these pastors, man, millionaires and shit, man. Profiting off the Lord's words, man. People can read for free. But Jake's so damn dumbfounded. They want to pay somebody to get the word of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, man. I'll bring it back in the KJV. It says, "Wherefore I take you to record this day that I am pure from the blood of all men." Because we preach not just to our people, we also let these heathens know, man. They going into slavery. You know, and these Edomites gonna taste death, man. You know, we preach to all. You know, that's blood off our hands, man. You know, you don't sit on your hands, so-called sit on your hands. You know, when you know what's going on, you let people know. I'm gonna go to the book of Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 18. Actually, I'm gonna start at verse 17. It says, "Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth, and give them warning from me." You know, we learn from our elders and apostles, man. You know, and they preach the truth, man, 100% doctrine. You know, and we go and preach it, man, via, you know, social media, highways and hedges. You know, crying out loud. It says, "When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speaketh to warn the wicked from his way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in iniquity, but his blood I will require thy hand," man. Woo. You know, can't be sitting on your hands, man. You know, not warning the wicked of his wicked ways, man. You know, at the end of the day, man, Jake is Jake. You know, that's our brothers, man, and sisters. You know, you warn Jake what the hell he doing wrong. You know, correct him. You know, you don't just sit there and watch him, you know, keep doing the wrong shit. You know, you gonna preach to your brother, man. You know, that's love. We supposed to be showing love to each other, man. Scriptures say, love your brother as yourself, man. That's showing love, you know, by correction. And if you're not correcting, then what are you doing, man? Time is short, man. You know. But that's pretty much all on this lesson. Lord willing, you will edify. Until next video. Shalom.